But when you allow God to breathe into you, I'm telling you, lives around you change when it starts flowing out to others. So I can't think of a better way to illustrate this than to bring up somebody who's actually experienced this, whose life they've just been totally loved on by God. And in turn, without even planning it, without even thinking about it, they start sharing their life with other people. Chad, why don't you come up here, man? A lot of you know Chad. Woo! Thanks, buddy. You're so nice. You bring me a stool. Well, Chad, tell us a little bit about your story. Help us to get to know you. You came to K2.
I came to K2 as a follower of Christ. I was saved about a year and a half before I started coming to K2. And part of the reason for that is I got saved. I mean, Christ came into my life, and he acquitted me of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, not that I was a bad guy, but, you know, I lived for the bar. I lived for, you know, just the playing around, the messing around. And Christ came into my life and just started, you know, I got saved and everything was good. Mm-hmm. And then during that time, I was like, well, I need to share this with my friends, you know, and how do I do that?
And so you just start calling up people in your life, and one of the guys you called was Dave, right?
Well, yeah, no, I called Dave. Yeah, Dave Wright. Well, yeah, you know, I wanted to get saved, or I wanted to show other people what was going on with my life, and so I called up my friend Dave and said, Dave, you gotta, you know, he actually was going through some stuff, and he had known about the stuff that I'd gone through, and I said, Dave, there's one thing, we've tried it, we tried everything, because we had lots of solutions, and I said, Dave, maybe this time, with what's going on in your life, maybe you ought to try God this time.
Yeah. So you invite him to K2, and
I invited him.
Lo and behold, he shows up.
It was a Sunday morning. I just called him up one morning. It was 9 o'clock, 8:30 on a Sunday morning. I knew stuff was going on. And I said, Dave, why don't you come to church? So,
did he ride his bike that day? I don't know. Dave, get up here. Did you ride your bike that day? Grab a stool. Come up here, man. Everybody, this is Dave Wright, and he is one of the K2 bikers. So Dave, Chad gives you a call, and
yeah, he gives me a call and no, I wasn't on the bike.
Probably last place you thought you'd end up, huh?
Yeah, it was. I was going through a rough spot in my life, and had really had a broken life all my life, but always fighting it and trying to survive and whatever, and had a situation that kind of broke the straw on the camel's back, and was actually on my way to another church because my grandma had been in town and had invited me up there, and Chad called and said, hey, why don't you come to my church? And I just had this tug at my heart that said, you know what, this is where I was supposed to be, and I pulled up here to K2, and all these people that I had never met, didn't know, are coming up saying, hey, Dave, how you doing? And I'm, it's kind of freaking me out. I'm like, how do you know me? And yeah, it turns out I got a big mouth buddy. But and then I walk into the building, and one of the first things that I felt, and it again kind of weirded me out a little bit, but I just really kind of felt, not realizing at the time that it was that Jesus and the Holy Spirit were in here in this building. Wow. But it was a very comforting feeling. Anyway, and you were given, this was before the launch, and you were given the message on if I just had this back, if I just had that back, and a song had been played about guys like, well, he'd lost a girl, and if he just had that girl back, and that happened to be kind of where I was at in my life, and really deep, heavy message. Chad and I both just kind of sat there after the message, and oh wow, this is, and just kind of soaked it in, it hooked me. I kept coming to K2.
Wow. So I mean, it's literally what we're talking about today. I mean, you just kind of ran head into God, and lo and behold, you keep coming back, and then something you didn't expect starts happening.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd come here for service, and I mean, I'd just be crying my eyes out for the whole service, and again, that was kind of freaking me out. I didn't understand until later. As God, He's just with His precision scalpel, He's cutting all the bad stuff out of me. And then one day, Dave was given a message, and had given us all little sunflower seeds, and said, if you're just willing to accept the idea, I mean, not even to fully accept Christ, just accept the idea, come put this seed down. And and I was kind of waffling back and forth. Should I? My feet were just moving forward, and there was no way I was stopping. And I came and put that seed down, and and just was kind of overwhelmed that whole day. But I remember I woke up the next day with just the most overwhelming sense of peace and almost wholeness, like I'd never felt before.
Wow. And then you started doing something completely unexpected.
I did. I started witnessing.
What was that about?
Yeah, exactly. Dave, witnessing, and I came on a little strong to some of my friends and stuff, not realizing that, they're like, it's a Jesus freak here, and you know what, I am. I mean, I'm on fire for Jesus now, and it's great.
It's cool.
And, so I talk to people when I can, and, witness when I can, and, getting a little better at it, and had some friends that, were a little open, some friends that weren't, and, had a friend, Jody, that she started going through some stuff, and, this last summer, and we had met and talked and a little bit, and I just looked at her and said, Jody, I've been talking to you about this, but you know what? You need some churching up.
Hey, guess what? Jody, come up here. So Jody comes to church. We're going to run out stools here in a minute. So Jody, what's the deal? So you know these two thugs, and they invite you to church. Last place you thought you'd be, huh?
I've known these two thugs for 9 years, and seeing God in their hearts is the last thing I ever expected to see.
We just want another beer.
I'm glad you don't have a microphone, bud.
So I started coming, the first time I came to K2, I've come a couple times over the past 2 years, came to Dave's baptism service, and when my sister was here for Thanksgiving last year, and came to the first Jesus Christ Superstar in July, and was coming, and Dave knew I'd have questions, so we would go to breakfast after church and see if I had any questions or anything I was confused about, and it was always like, yeah, that's cool, everybody's nice, and that was about it. And I'm kind of one of those instant gratification people. I wanted to come, have the lightning bolt, have my life change, everything be different instantly, because I'm a little impatient. And so nothing really was happening. And I finally just told him, it's all good. I'm having a good time. Nothing's happening. Just, chill. Quit asking me what's going to go on.
So a couple weeks pass, and you keep coming. And
6-7 weeks later, I come to the Honduras service. See the video of the trip to Honduras.
Yeah.
And Dave stands up and says, do you ever wonder why God put you here and not there in Honduras living in that junkyard, searching every day for your food?
Right.
And what are you doing about that to be thankful for what you have? So there are a couple things I've been thinking in my life about doing. One was becoming a shelter care parent, which I'm almost finished with the training for. Started teaching Sunday school, and over the next 2 weeks, amazing things started to happen in my life that I had no control over and was surprised to have happen. And the first day I started teaching Sunday school, which kind of ruined my breakfast plans. And for parents who know I teach your kids, they're not alone. There's someone in there with them right now. Couldn't go to breakfast, so Dave said, okay, come over, we'll watch a race on TV and we'll answer some, we'll talk. And I'm sitting there watching the race, just grinning. I couldn't stop smiling, and he kept saying, what's up? This is a serious business. Racing is serious. This is not funny stuff. And I just couldn't stop smiling, and I finally just said, I can't describe it. I felt my heart growing, and the only way I could describe it was the end of The Grinch, when the sled's going down the hill with the whole town's toys, and he dives down the hill, and he grabs the sleigh, and they do a close-up of his heart and show that his heart grew 5 times that day. And I'm sitting there watching the race, not paying any attention whatsoever to the race, but thinking how amazing it was that I could feel God in my heart and that my heart was growing, and there was just no stopping it. And it's been amazing ever since.
Wow. Dude, would you guys give these guys a hand? Not for them, but for God. Thank you guys so much for sharing.